Speaking of which, does that make us soft? And if we're soft, is this new generation of the U.S. men's national team soft? Because that has been a firestorm on the internet right now. So I don't know if it's a preview for a interview or if it's like a piece of Pulisic's documentary that's going on, or is that, I don't know if that's done or not. I've not watched it. That's not a surprise. I don't know what it is. But a piece of content went out with Timothy Weah and Christian Pulisic basically saying, like, yo, the fans suck. They're like, well, actually, they didn't say the fans as much as they were pissed off at the old guard of people who keep calling them soft. DPG, what do you think?
So, Leo Messi's still getting call-ups for Argentina, right? Cristiano Ronaldo is still getting called. He's playing in the middle of the summer with Miami, and he's still doing his international due. Now, with that being said, there's a very diplomatic way to handle this situation, especially if you're a pro. You can go ahead and start a shitstorm, like what's going on now, because like them saying that, I don't see a lot of people going on their side like, yeah, you're right. No, it's more or less, you guys missed the Gold Cup, and then now you guys want to just shit on the guys that criticized you.
I mean, to an extent, I think like everything in life, it's a percentages of different reasons, right? I mean,
yeah.
To one extent, like it's almost like quote unquote student loan forgiveness, right? Some people have the mentality of like, well, I paid for it, fuck you. And other people are like, well, I know I had to pay for it, but I just want everyone else to have it better. So some of the players are feeling like, dog, you know how shit it was when you played. Why are you yelling at us for taking advantage of like being able to take care of ourselves better?
So here's one thing. The old US-17, the old guard as we call it, they were more or less kind of reminded me like a very blue class team. Like these guys were like get into the nitty gritty and fight like hell to try to get a result. Not saying that this team doesn't, but it was a different time back then. Same thing when people that say about student loans. Most of them like, yeah, I pay my student loans. When your student loans cost about $1,000, a whole year,
Yeah, when your entire college was $16,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and times were different back then. Times were like, yeah, get a college degree and you'll get a nice office, cushy job, and all that's fun stuff. You can make a nice wage. Your wife doesn't have to work, and yeah, that ship has sailed. Unfortunately,
Well,
but
I mean,
you can't have the same expectations.
True.
Sometimes.
Well, that's the thing. It's like like Landon Donovan remembers what it was like playing in MLS when it was like, yeah, you go. Listen, you have to move the cows, but you practice over there, and then you get to play in the nice stadium. You know what I mean?
You get to practice in the parking lot situation.
Yeah. All right, it's your turn to shovel the rocks out of the field. Like, come on, man. Like, listen. I am so surprised at your attitude because you have directly called these guys soft in the past.
I think they're kind of like, I don't know, like sometimes they strike me as a little soft. Like, there's teams where, look at Panama. They have beaten the US-17 all the time, like the past couple of times, and they don't do it because they're soft. They do it because they want to with sheer will. Like they'll cut through the BS and just beat you, with no remorse. And I just think that sometimes this team kind of gets, a little soft. They don't get into a nitty gritty attitude. They don't get into that whole, we're gonna F them up type of situation. They don't get it. I don't feel like,
There's so many different factors too. Like I mean, it's hard. for a long time, people like us would get on the internet, and even before the internet, would write news articles and be like, these guys are dummies, man. They're making all this money, play a game, dog. Shut up. But, like, we know more, and when you try to put yourself in a player's shoes, like here, we all know I don't like Pulisic, but let's put myself in Pulisic's shoes. You play for AC Milan against some of the best defenders in the world, who will clatter you. But what happens is you will get the foul call. The referees are at a level that, okay, that's a foul. No, that's a clean tackle. And then you come to play for your national team for CONCACAF in a stadium in your own country that's got, 80% representation of the other country. And then some dude comes in with a leg breaker and you don't even get a foul, let alone, like, advantage. Like, just nothing. Why would you want to break your back for that? So, like, and that's even just a sliver of some of the things that are going on here, right? That you got to think about.
But that's the thing, though, is like sometimes you just gotta shut up and fight. Like, you're not gonna get all the calls. You're not gonna get, obviously efficient. The referees in CONCACAF, it's night and day. When you compare them to the referees out in Europe,
Oh, most certainly. Most certainly.
So I hope that these guys realize that they put that in their head, like, hey, I'm not playing in Italy anymore. I'm not playing in Germany or France or England. I'm playing in a CONCACAF and a national team. And this referee, he's from some random country. He's not gonna call that.
No, hell no.
He's not gonna call that. He's gonna
keep it moving. Pulisic, you're supposed to get around him.
Yeah.
I thought you was good. You were supposed to get around him.
See, that's kind of like the mentality of, like, arrogance and this team being a little, like, catered to almost. Maybe that whole the golden generation stuff kind of got to their heads. Like, now it almost seems like they're expecting things to go their way versus actually fighting and playing and using sheer will to win.
Isn't it incredible the difference winning and losing does? Because when you win, oh man, these guys are smooth. They don't even got to break a sweat. When you're losing, they don't give a shit. And then, like, when you're winning, it's like, oh, he's aggressive and he's going to speak his mind. When you're losing, it's, oh, boy, he's blaming everyone else. You know what I mean? It's kind of wild.
But here's the thing. I've been calling out this for, like, the past couple of years. Like, you put this U.S. men's national team in front of a Germany, the Germanys of the world, the Argentinas, the Brazils, the Englands, the Italys, the Frances of the world, they collapse and crumble. Like, whatever goodwill, whatever type of confidence that was building the past few months or years, it goes out the window when they face a real team, right? A real national team, and that's kind of been the issue with the U.S. national team, is that the best they can do is beat Mexico, and that's it.
You're right,
and they haven't done that this year.
Oh boy, this is a catastrophe in the making, honestly. Although this is gonna be so epic when, like, everything just, like, when it's the '86 Mets and they make a run to the semifinals, being the most, like, controversial group of individuals in the history of time.
I mean, I'm not saying that things don't turn around in a year, because if one good example, and I was just thinking about this right now, is you look at the 2002 World Cup. That USMNT team, the one that was led by Bruce Arena, in the qualifiers, they were at the verge of being disqualified completely. Like, they were about to get eliminated.
No,
they had to, like, depend on they had to depend on certain results to happen in order to qualify. That's how bad it was.
Well, remember in 2014, it took like an 80th minute Eddie Johnson header in
Panama against Panama.
No, a much smaller nation. It was like the first round. We almost didn't make it out of the first round. Oh my God, we were playing on a polo pitch.
Was it like Trinidad and Tobago?
No, it was small. It was a small
Oh,
nation, and it took a late Eddie Johnson header to win. But anyway, I apologize. I
but
interrupted.
yeah, but you think about that. That team going into that World Cup like had no business winning. Like they struggled in the qualifiers, and then they kind of make their way into the World Cup, and then they're facing against Portugal, South Korea, Poland, and to everybody's surprise, they go ahead and beat Portugal 3-2.
Well, and don't forget,
Like
didn't they get through on being like a good third place team as opposed to
I
like
think it was second
okay,
place because I think they lost against Poland 2-1, but then they go ahead and tie South Korea 1-1,
okay, and
even
then
though
they
they were
won
winning that
against
game.
yeah
So
Portugal.
yeah,
So
yeah. No, they won the Portugal game first. That was the game that kind of set the tone.
okay,
That was the
okay.
first.
I
That
thought
was
that.
the
Never
one where
mind.
everybody. Yeah, see, you gotta quit smoking that. But anyways, um, that Portugal game was the first game that was kind of set the tone. Everybody was shocked, like, because everybody expected Portugal to just like tank roll these guys and that's it. You had your Luis Figo, Rui Costa. You had all those guys. It didn't work out that way. Now
Nah, it
I'm not
sure did.
saying that's gonna happen next year. I'm not saying it's gonna happen this year, but crazy things happen in the World
Well,
Cup.
remember we were ranked sixth
Um,
in the world going into 2006, and also like you like listen and like you talked about the '02 team. Landon Donovan, DeMarcus Beasley wasn't in those qualifiers. You know what I mean? Like
they were part. They were. I
but
think.
not like
I
they
think
were in the World
Donovan.
Cup.
So I remember seeing Donovan. Uh, so I was actually at RFK to see Honduras versus USA, and that was actually that was a game that Honduras beat USA 3-2.
Ooh.
And I think that kind of started the trend of I remember reading an article on this on in Soccer America back in the day, where they were pissed off that the stadium was mostly you know Hondurans, so to
Oh
speak.
well,
Uh,
the more things
you know,
change.
and they didn't they were expecting. I don't know what exactly was the expectation back then, but um they wrote a article just detailing how there's no support and blah 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 and you know this and that. But what they felt, now looking at it from this point of view, for us is the norm. Like, it's
That's how it is. It's just like here's the
yeah,
thing.
it's
It all comes back to something I'm gonna complain about later. Um,
oh shit, here we go.
U.S. soccer prices these things so high that you have no
Yep.
want to go, and like in the like, and that's even before the team goes through these
And then
phases of
and
being
you got to face
unlikable.
and you got to deal with the fees too.
Well, and then like they put them all in the same spot all the goddamn time. Like I don't want to go to who the hell wants to go to Tennessee or whatever? Who's trying to go?
Who
Who
wants to
wants
go
to
to
go to Dallas all the
Nashville?
goddamn time? Who gives a shit?
What is
Like
it? Who wants to go to Birmingham?
like and it's just like and so then you transpose like oh god I talked a lot of shit now I don't even know the right word to say but no you turn that on its head and it doesn't matter the cost like we are a melting pot of people so no matter what nation comes here to play us if you're like of even lower middle class means most people like a lot of people will be like oh my god my national team is in the country I want to go travel or even oh my god they're in the city I live in we have
I
to go no matter what because
I
it's your
know I
only
know
chance to
exactly the
see them.
experience. I know the feeling because we traveled to RFK. Living in Chicago, it was not just us. Like my aunt and uncle and a couple of my cousins. We did a road trip. We did a whole road trip. We drove from Chicago to RFK, or actually Chicago to Washington D.C. I think we stayed in some hotel out in Alexandria. But yeah, that's how we. That was a little bit of dedication from our part,
For
from my parents'
real.
part, so to speak. Um,
Because
I
it's
still
like, how
remember getting.
often were you going to get that chance? Because now it's like the Gold Cup is always here, and then you got Nations League, and you got the fuck around tournament. Like now they call, all these teams come all the time.
I still recall getting those tickets because I think my dad or somebody had a family friend that lived out in the area, and he got us the tickets and he mailed it to us in case for whatever reason he wasn't there. So he mailed it to us, and I remember getting those tickets in a Ziploc bag in a package, and I remember keeping that ticket stub forever up until the point that the ink was like
Fading
pretty much
off.
gone
Hell
off
yeah.
it, fading off completely. Like I held that ticket until that point. But yeah, I mean, I guess in a way, who was U.S. Soccer to stop stopping someone to go see their national team play?
That's the thing. Every time, and like, so it'd be a little bit different if, say, American football was an international sport, right?
Yeah,
Like, if it was played in America, there'd be like the away section for whatever country has come to play America, right? Like every stadium in the country would be full. But soccer just isn't even on that level yet. So you're going up against a once in a lifetime experience for some people versus this team is driving me nuts. The tickets are how much? You know what I mean? Like,
dude,
of course the stadium's going to be full.
I honestly, I think the ticket prices, if I remember this correctly, oh my god, I'm trying to think really hard. I thought it was $18
back then.
$18 a ticket back then,
dude.
This was 2000.
Yeah, that was kind of a lot back then. Even
and I remember getting to the stadium. Oh crap! I remember getting to the stadium like 5 in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning, because it was an early game. It was like a 10 a.m. game. And we got to the stadium early. I remember walking into RFK. Remember sitting on my seat. I kind of remember the area where we were sitting at. And to top it all off, I watched the game. I had fun. I had a good time. I was like done after the game because I had like spent my whole energy.
Technical difficulties aside, DPG, you were telling the story of
Honduras. Yeah. So, and this was one of those times where MLS was funny. What I mean by that, it was after the USMNT game and the Honduras game, DC United played.
Oh, that would have been cool.
It was a double.
Yeah, I can understand though. That's a lot of soccer.
It was a double. Yeah, it was a double header, I think, against. But it was funny because that stadium emptied out as soon as that game started.
Oh no.
But yeah, no, it's it was a good experience. It was a fun experience, and like I've told you guys before, like I've gone to Honduras, I've gone to, San Pedro Sula, I've gone to Tegucigalpa, but it's like, man, I think that RFK moment was like it tops it off for me. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. I don't know.
That's just American soccer. It's just like you're gonna have to get way. You have to get like Brazil levels of good to stop that from happening. So stop hosting everything here. Move it around. It might help.
If you're gonna play Mexico, don't play them in like Southern California. Go to Boston or something. Go up north. Go up northeast.
Yeah, go somewhere fun again. They used to go fun places. All right. So I think anyway, in summation, everybody hates Pulisic right now. Although they're really latching on to the Weah comment.
They're gonna like crucify this guy. Like, bro, that you wasted like all your energy at AC Milan and out of nowhere you don't have anything for the U17.
And
so you got Cristiano Ronaldo close to 40 years old or at 40 years old, and this man is like playing in a hot ass country in a desert, and he still makes time to go play for Portugal.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature.
And you got Messi.
Yeah, the two best players that will ever live in our life. Well, I mean, Pele and Maradona were alive while we were alive, but
you got Messi. You got Messi playing in a league that it can literally end your career with with a bad tackle from some college kid, but he still has signed for Argentina. So
I
I mean, I don't get it
the
because
Pulisic's biggest problem isn't on the field. It's how unlikable the guy is. It's that he actively
I think that's
tried to
yeah, I
he
think that's what it
actively
is.
split the fan base, and now he just wants to whine and cry about it. It's like, you know what, dude, you've lost all goodwill
Who
at
the
this point.
hell like? Do you think a guy like Mbappe is just gonna be like, man, I played a long ass season with Real Madrid. I'm not gonna go play for France. You know,
You never know,
he
man.
could. I mean, you never know,
It might
but
like what
he-
does France play for though? Things that matter a little bit more. It's not like,
yeah, I mean,
France isn't like, okay, Mbappe, come play the patty cake tourney with us. Like,
I mean, no, I
it is
get
what
it,
it
but like,
is. But all right, so we're gonna move on to another American thing.